You know what I'm most worried about?
Which is what?
Getting into a minor altercation
We can just drive
while
around,
driving.
We can just drive around the flats, man.
No, but like, and it's being recorded. So I don't want to be taped.
हाँ तो वो फिर हम delete कर देंगे ना footage. No, this didn't happen.
Embarrassing तो होगा ना मेरे लिए.
Why are you assuming that you're going to be in the wrong? The other person is always the
Can be. और वो तो obviously it's never going to be my fault. I thought we'd record an episode with you. Get you to talk about.
Button दबा दिए ना?
Huh?
Button दबा दिए.
हाँ, so यानी talk about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm an influencer.
Hannah, talk about your high-flying friends.
Yeah, I'm a boring person. I would much rather talk about Midsummer Chaos. Have you seen Midsummer Chaos?
Should I park inside?
I don't know.
Midsummer Chaos. That
Come on.
the Norwegian.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What
not.
was that?
Midsummer Chaos is a show made by what I assume is a 19-year-old Islamabadi
Oh.
boy. Islamabadi? Well,
Yeah.
18, 19-year-old. And
Oh, acha, sorry.
and it's a YouTube like drama.
The Slackistan type.
Pakistan vibes hai, but it's either really intelligent, right? Or it's just
Sorry.
टेक अवे करना है या डाइनिंग करनी है?
takeaway.
Takeaway.
कॉफी बीन से?
जी.
हाँ जी.
आप इधर गाड़ी खड़ी कर देना.
Thank you. There you go.
यार
क्यों मैं दे दूँ?
नहीं. वॉलेट में पैसे नहीं है.
हाँ.
अलग पड़े.
मेरा भी यही मसला है.
Gosh, Sameer, I'm not dieting. You got me no milk, no
I
sugar.
asked you.
But
It's on camera.
I know, but iced Americano means no milk, no
Yeah.
sugar.
You know, sugar aa rahi hai. I'm gonna ask him to bring it. I just want you to live longer, yeah.
Okay.
And also, it's very tasty.
It is though. Jafar will curse me.
Why?
वो कॉफी बनाता है मैं नहीं पीती. Have you lived here all your life?
In Lahore?
Yeah.
In Askari,
Yeah.
I've been here since '96, and then
Wow.
before here, I used to live on Shami Road. That's a dead end. I used to live on Shami Road for 4 years prior to that, and then 92 was when I moved to Lahore. I was in Islamabad for about 3 months in '91, and before '91, I was in Dubai since 86 to 91 I was in Dubai, and then I think 83 to 86 I was in Saudi, and then 82 I was born. So
Sameer, who taught you to play the guitar?
I picked up the guitar mostly myself, with some guidance from a few friends of mine who used to play, namely Mahmood Rahman.
This is like when you were how old?
I was in O levels.
14, 15.
Yes, 15, 16.
Sweet. So basically you learned together, yeah? Or were they a bit more advanced?
No, Mahmood knew how to play. So Mahmood helped me a lot, but mostly it was internet. Mostly it was like.
What connection? What connection were you on?
Oh no, you're thinking videos. We weren't streaming videos. There was no YouTube.
हाँ, तो फिर?
It was.
मैं तो कह रही हूँ इंटरनेट भी कितना अच्छा था. You were on shore.net. Which one? Which
Yeah,
one were
we
you
used.
using?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I remember WOL होता था.
Yes.
World Online.
Wall.
Wall. Garden Town में होता था.
Yes. बराबर में वहाँ पर भी जा के अपने बिल पे किए हुए. Fala, and then Shua.
I don't remember.
Or something like that. Showa.net.
OneNet hota tha. OneNet say I used to buy a half an hour scratch card to use for
Painful.
dial-up card to use for MIRC. आधे घंटे का. Half an hour. Half an hour right now is like it's nothing. I can't. I have to say I was very prideful of the fact that the most popular MIRC channel was Lakas.
Really?
Yes. And I was in Lakas, so I felt like I was a made man. मैं बस पहुंचा हुआ होता था because I was in Lakas and Lakas was the most popular.
And what did that do for you?
Nothing.
ठीक. अच्छा तू गिटार कहाँ से सीखा था? We were talking about internet.
So internet पे I used to. I think the first tabs I ever googled were Oasis के गाने.
Oh. Man.
I think the first song I learned how to play, first pop song I learned how to play was Don't Look Back in Anger.
Oh.
It was a tough song actually, a lot of chord changes there. But there was no video, so you would listen to the song on an MP3 that you downloaded from Napster.
Yes!
Do you?
Napster!
Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa.net and pata nahi kya kya, right?
Oh
So
my
you download the MP3 and then you'd listen to the song and then you would look at the tab, which was a really crude sort of drawing of the fretboard, and you would then like try and hold the chord and then strum it and like, oh yeah, this does sound like kind of like what Noel Gallagher is playing. And then you try and figure, and that was it. You just sit for hours and hours, and I have these memories of being like emotional, teenage emotion, where you have like you're angry or you're sad and you don't know why, but you are, and then you're sitting there on your bed and you're like playing the guitar or you're playing the piano and I look back at that and I cringe a little because teenage emotion is very cringy, but I also think it's so important that I had this outlet for exploring those emotions. And I'm, of course, as an adult Pakistani male, I am very stunted emotionally.
No, you're not.
But I feel I am, right?
No, you're not.
But
You're very sensitive.
But as a kid, it was nice to be able to make some noise and a dead end. It was nice to be able to make some noise and
dead end, just like teenage.
Just sit
teenage emotions.
Yeah, and just sit with my feelings and like sort of play through them. So I that's why I always advocate children, especially pre-teens and teens, get into music because it becomes a sort of private outlet for sort of exploring your emotions. You don't have to do it in the presence of somebody else. You can do it on your own. And instead of running to the shops and bumming a cigarette, you can sit in your room and play a guitar, and it's healthier for you. But you're learning a skill, and so that's why I'm a great advocate of music, and guitar in particular is very easy.
Are you kidding me, Sameer? Kitne saalon se, well, if you practice.
There's a reason it's the most popular instrument, right?
I suppose.
Right, piano and guitar. Piano and guitar are very similar to learn. Of course, the techniques are completely different, but the thoughts behind the way the chords are laid out and the song structures, the way the instrument is laid out, it kind of they make sense together. So guitar is a good instrument for kids to learn because it's cool. That's a big thing for kids, and it's ubiquitous. Like you can play any song on the guitar. Any pop song, any rock song, all classic music is guitar based. Classic rock music, not Chopin and Mozart classic. But yeah, nowadays all the music is like not guitar based. So what are our kids going to grow up playing? Are they going to grow up playing DJ?
So even today's songs, whatever, like you can look the chords up, right? Even though they're not being,
Yeah,
नहीं
so
है
you have
वो.
to do a rendition, right?
Yeah.
So if I was to ये जो Dua Lipa का जो हम गाना सुन रहे थे अभी, interestingly it had sampled a song from the 90s. Excuse me.
This is something I spoke to Jafar about yesterday. I saw Rocket Man.
अच्छा.
And I was like, मैं कि जो अच्छा म्यूजिक बनना था ना बन चुका. Like now, yes, you may be a hit band or a singer or whatever and have a nice catchy tune, but even these, like we literally all of them go back and they kind of, you know, they source it from there. They source inspiration or some bits and pieces and from classic, like.
I think that's also from our point of view as well, because everyone does it. The Beatles did it.
Yeah, even then.
So even in the 60s, the 14, 15-year-old, 18-year-old Beatles boys, lads, were looking at the American Buddy Holly type people.
बिल्कुल. And I would say fine. अब वो तो और भी पीछे. They would go into the, you know, वो Mozart से शुरू हुए होंगे. ठीक है ना? And they probably took inspiration from even before.
Banging some rocks in a cave.
Well, इतनी जल्दी तो नहीं transition हुआ था, but caveman से Mozart पे चले गए.
यार genius था बंदा यार.
But you know what I'm saying? मुझे लगता है जैसे like no, I don't know. I'm going to be offending BTS fans if I say this, but nobody आगे जाके BTS का देख के तो नहीं वो कहेंगे oh wow let me take this, you know. I don't know.
Again, I think that's an assumption on our part. Like हम जो है ना, we look at, personally I look at the classic 70s, 60s, 70s Woodstock era classic rock and think, damn, these guys were trendsetters. They defined modern music today with the stuff that they did in the in the 60s and 70s. And then I look back, and then I can trace sort of their sort of the effect that they've had on music all the way down to say the noughties, you know, the 2000s.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't relate to the electronic music. It's just after my my musical growth stagnated when electronic music became big. And for me, music is not just about listening, it's about the culture as well, right? So I enjoyed guitar rock-based music because it had a certain emotional value to me, and it lyrically and musically it stirred thoughts and emotion in me which I enjoyed. But electronic music doesn't do that for me at all.
Right.
EDM is music I just don't understand. I don't understand it as a musician.
Right.
I don't understand it as a fan, and I don't understand it as a culture. I don't understand how popping a pill and then going to a music concert is good music. No, that is something, you're literally taking a pill to
So
enjoy music.
It comes with a prescription.
Yeah, so I mean, there's an argument to be made कि आप लोग just speak, you know, Pink Floyd something. Sure, but I didn't used to do that, right? I used to enjoy
sober.
I used to enjoy Zeppelin, soberish, right? And I was high on life. You know? I used to enjoy this music without aid.
Right.
So I can't. And that's not to say people who enjoy EDM while they're popping pills don't enjoy EDM when they're not popping pills. I'm sure they do. But I don't, right? So I don't understand that, and I have no interest in. This is a dead end. I have no interest in taking EDM drugs. Molly Shorty, it's never excited me.
Have you ever?
No.
You want to?
No, I don't. I'm too old for that. I just want to like have a cup of coffee and like listen to my podcast. That's all I want. Yeah.
Oh man, teenager Samir would cringe at this.
Me, man,
You were mellow, always mellow.
Yeah, my group of friends were not druggies. They were not, you know, I didn't grow up with my immediate circle. Even till today, are very sharif. And we didn't go around chasing women or indeed objectifying women. We didn't go around, we didn't smoke.
Yeah.
We weren't the group of kids who smoked in school, chup ke, And I didn't drive till I was 18.
ठीक है, straight laced and just
And I don't. It's not that I'm.
you weren't on
goody,
speed.
I'm not a goody two shoes or anything. Like ऐसी
I
कोई
know.
बात नहीं है. I have dark thoughts. No, it's just that the rules are in place. I live in this society. I'm very happy to follow the rules, and it makes life a lot simpler. Just like, in the last 5 or 6 years, I've made a concerted effort to stop lying. Like even the choti moti jhoots. I'm around the corner type. Like, I'm stuck in traffic. I'll be there in 20 minutes. It's a simple, it's a simple
man.
thing, but you start.
Get rid of so much stress.
Yeah, and it becomes easier.
It does.
You just admit it that you're late, or just say you can't do something, or just say you're feeling a certain way, and you get used to it.
Welcome to my world. You think that we're old school and old fashioned because we like classic and we're assuming
we are old school, just like when we were kids.
Our parents were old
Our
school.
parents were old school.
To us.
Yeah. So, the 90s was 30 years ago. Right? That's crazy. Backstreet Boys was 30 years ago.
Oh my god.
Excuse me. That's crazy.
Oh my god.
You wanted that way? तो हाँ, हमें अब नहीं समझ आते Dua Lipa के गाने. Although मुझे actually Dua Lipa पसंद है.
It's great music. I like it.
It is good music. But why? Why do I like it? Funky ass bass lines, yaar.
Right, but I'm saying to you that
like,
it's not something that like हमें उसके lyrics नहीं याद.
नहीं.
ठीक है ना? We're not American pieing it into our life, you know. So it's like it's very.
कल रात हम Black Widow देख रहे थे.
Oh, we just started and I had to switch off.
उसमें American Pie आता है शुरू
हाँ.
में, and like खत्म हो गया गाना.
Yeah.
The scene ended, so
Yeah.
the song stopped, and I continued singing
Yeah.
into the next scene.
Yeah. But did you see how they edited it?
What do you mean?
मैं जाफर को कह दी कि ये क्या बात हुई, यानी गाना उन्होंने basically they didn't chop it up, but the drive when they start playing the song,
हाँ,
you know, the
yeah.
cars meandering,
Exactly,
the different shots
Time
दिखा
jump
रहे हैं,
still, but the
बहुत
song
सारे.
continued. हाँ,
Song
I
just
did-
continued from that bit.
I didn't notice that. I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I was like, they couldn't chop the song up.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
criminal.
Yeah.
You cannot chop up American Pie.
Yeah. Do you know what the song's about?
Isn't it the Vietnam War or something?
Oh, interesting. So what I understand is
Wasn't it released then?
the day the music died. I can't remember if I cried.
Yeah.
I heard about his widow cry. No, that's the wrong line. Something touched me deep inside the day the music died. Or something like that. I don't know, right? But
Yeah.
it's basically about I think it's about the death of Buddy Holly.
Could Google it.
Too old. I saw an interesting meme yesterday. Remember Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon?
Yeah.
So his catchphrase is I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
And so that was 40. He was 40. He was 40 years old
man.
when he was saying I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh my god. But I can relate and it makes sense
Yeah.
that by the time you hit 40,
I'm 39 this year. So.
I'm 43 and it has sunk in. It's too old for that, man. अच्छा तो गिटार तुमने सीख के
Guitar मैंने सीखा फिर there were a lot of guitarists in my group as in everyone played guitar, right?
at school,
No, as in
just your friends.
most 90% of all musicians are guitarists.
They start as guitar.
And somebody, Mahmood had a band, Dead End. Mahmood had a, no, that wasn't the name of the band. The name of the band was Black Eye, I think.
Black Eye. Oh, cute.
So Mahmood had a Mahmood had a band and they needed a bass player, and he asked me, yeah, ek show hai, do you want to play bass? And I was like, oh, what is bass?
Wait, how old are you at this point?
Yeah, I'm in A2, so
Oh, wow.
last year of A.
You got offered to play at a concert?
It was,
Whatever, a gig,
huh.
big or small, but
Yeah.
still, wow, professionally.
I mean,
What was that?
it wasn't for money or anything, but I was like, what is bass? So he's like, you know, that's where I started. So I remember the bass guitar. I can't remember who it belonged to. I think it might have belonged to Shahzad Hamid actually.
Whoa.
Maybe. I don't think he knows that we used the bass.
Why you just picked it up from his place?
You know, I didn't arrange for it. Somebody else did. And then we used to jam at Jamal Rahman's place. And my bass, Shahzad's bass, was plugged into Jamal's little 15-watt guitar amp.
Oh my god.
And that's where I learned how to play bass, which went on to become my main instrument. My weapon of choice is bass.
How'd you choose that?
I
Like you
enjoyed
just loved
it so much.
Yeah.
But initially it was because I thought it was easier to play bass than it was to play guitar. Bass is not a solo instrument though. Like you need a band to really find your space. No, that's not to say you can't play bass when you're sitting alone in your room. You can and you have to if you want to be a bass. If you want to be a musician, you have to practice. But
I get what you're saying.
but bass generally is not a melodic instrument. It's a rhythm instrument. It's closer to the drums than it is to guitar when it comes to, you know, the way you use it in a song. You use the bass much like drums to keep the beat and to keep the groove and to keep a sense of time and space and
So
create.
a song is nothing without the bass.
Of
Is that what
course,
you're trying to
yeah.
It is true.
I would play concerts and people would ask me, Uncle, आपके गिटार से किसान की आवाज आती है? आवाज नहीं आ रही. And I mean, the thing is, like, when the bass stops, you notice it. Just like when the drums stop, you notice it. And it's what keeps you wanting to move. It's groove. It's fun. Bass is fun. And there are at least 2 other Samirs in Pakistan that I know of
Who
who
play the
agree with
bass.
me.
And who play bass.
Because they are both professional bass players. Exceptionally good professional bass players.
So bus, that's it. That's how it started. Then
Yeah,
you
I
formed
played-
a band with someone, or
Yeah, I played a couple of gigs. That's how I got into bass. I played 2 gigs with these guys. Mahmood tha. I think the drummer was Hashim. Vocals play was Azhar Rana. These are all, I think, ex-Lacassians. Murad nahi. Jamal tha, I think, on second guitar and Mahmood was on guitar. I think it's a long time ago. But that's when I picked up bass. And then uske baad, by the time I got to college, NCA, which was about 2 years later, I was identified more as a bass player than a guitarist.
Whoa,
And my first year at NCA, the NCA has that, the National College of Arts, NCA, has a music festival, 2 music festivals every year. And the Western Music Festival is where you play English music, or Western music rather. And I played 30 songs or so on bass that year, in my first year as a freshie.
wow.
It was great. And then around that time in my first year, we formed a band called Scene. जिसके अंदर मैं था, महमूद रहमान, मुराद खान मुमताज, अवैस खान, and Hassan Moeddin. I think that's all it was.
Wow.
So we formed a band and we
And this is scene, not the scene. This is the letter scene.
This is the letter scene. In English, it was spelled SEEN. Cringe if you want. But हम बहुत सही मारते हैं. अभी भी मारते हैं.
NCA का कोई जवाब ही नहीं है.
Yeah,
Like
wow,
scene,
look at
क्या
those-
scene है?
वो दुकानें check करने जा रहे हैं. वो तो बड़ा
Ooh.
shingles on the roof वाला scene.
फिर scene के बाद आपने क्या किया?
तो scene.
अच्छा, scene would only perform in NCA.
No, we didn't perform at NCA. We had a band and we would get together at Vesu's house and on his crappy, when I say crappy compared to today, in those days he was the only one who had a laptop. So
Whoa.
using his laptop ka inbuilt microphone, we used to lay down tracks.
Very ambitious.
And we learnt ourselves how to record record music on a laptop. And
Like garage band.
Yeah,
आपने
yeah.
अपना
It is predates GarageBand. Man.
of course it does. अपना खुद ही बना लिया ना.
I can't
Like
remember
how
what the
to-
software was. Honestly, I can't remember. Fruity Loops का ज़माना था, I suppose. And we used to plug in our instruments to that. Vesu had all the cool gear. He had the electronic drum kit. He had the bass guitar. Mahmood had his own guitar.
So Vesu plays guitar and drums.
Vesu सब कुछ बजाता है.
Amazing.
And Murad Khan is a classic plays classic acoustic guitar. वो जो Spanish guitar नहीं होता, nylon string वाला. So he does the and so he was our second guitarist, and Hassan Mohiddin, who's also a very talented percussionist, musician, tabla player. He was our singer. So yeah, we were all in different years, and then every year somebody had a thesis, right? And so that meant that every year our big dreams for seeing the band were put on hold because every year somebody had a thesis, and eventually thesis ke baad people started moving away to live life. So we had 5 or 6 songs that we recorded on Vesu's laptop, and we had one song that we'd gone in and recorded in a studio, which was Dunia Folk Studios in Muzang in Lahore. And it was recorded on tape, like those circular
the reels.
tapes. You press the click and the thing started. It's very exciting. And the music video was shot by Bilal Lashari, and it was great. It was fun. It ran on the channels and stuff. It was good. And then in the end of my first year, the end of my second year, I started playing with Atif Aslam.
So soon.
Yeah. Was it the end of? No, it was the end of my first year. It was the end of my first year I started playing with Atif Aslam. Yeah.
That for you. And
big cat, huh?
How exciting was that opportunity?
Yeah, Atif was it was Jal first of all, it wasn't Atif. It was Jal back then. They had just recently split up, and they were still newish. उनके एक दो ही गाने आए हुए थे, आदत था और I think दिलहारी type. Yeah, Lamhe maybe. And they were still doing the opening for Moulin Rouge, the play, and those type of shows कर रहे थे. And I think it was ज़माने में they had started to get shows. I think the first show I played with them, we billed the promoters like 20 grand or 25 grand or something. It was a very small time.
Cute.
Yeah. Which for at that time I was like, whoa, wow man. Another 3 shows.
You split that. Split that what? 8 ways.
Well, I wish no. And it was great. I wasn't really playing for the money. It was Mahmood that said Mahmood was playing with Jal. So Mahmood's cousin, the late great Farhad Humayun, he was played a couple of shows with Jal, the band, as a drummer.
Yeah.
And he was not interested in continuing with them because he was busy forming
His own
scene.
Yeah.
And so he'd done a couple of session gigs with them, and he sort of pawned Jal on to his cousin Mahmood, who was also interested in playing drums. So Mahmood was actually playing drums with Jal.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. So it was the original lineup. My first lineup with Jal was Mahmood on drums, myself on bass, and this other kid Heather on guitar. There was another kid there, I forget his name, Umar and Heather on guitars. And
What year is this?
2003. And Atif on vocals. And that was our version of Jal. The other Jal was of course Gohar. And later on Farhan and Shazi joined him to form the main Jal. Atif later on dropped the name Jal and just became solo.
So at one point they were both Jal?
Yes, there were 2 Jals. That was the Jal controversy. Constantly, Atif wala Jal ya Gohar wala Jal.
Which Jal are you with?
Yeah.
Who do you Jal with?
There you go.
I've been hanging out with you.
वो एक दूसरे से जलते थे. Don't jealous. तो Though Jal say then Atif really took off because he was a very talented songwriter.
He is.
He still is. Yeah, I mean, like, I still am in awe of his skill. Atif, didn't really have music theory knowledge. He
Trained.
never studied music. उस तरह, not that we had, but हमने tabs खोल के गाने सीखे हुए थे, and we sort of understood song structure and things like that, all self-taught. But he had a different kind of learning when it came to music, which was more as a music fan than as a music creator. But his music sense is incredible. So he knows what sounds good, and he is a very talented songwriter and lyricist. Singer, I'm not even going to talk about his vocal prowess because वो तो है ही है. But that's not what impressed me about Atif. It was his music's understanding of music, which is incredible. It is once in a generation.
And you're talking about Atif even at that age, in 2003.
Even at that age, but throughout the years, like that has
grown.
always impressed me. His ability to learn things, like in mere samne, he's picked up guitar. Like he didn't know how to play guitar back. Interestingly, if you go straight, left side pe lane 14, 15 aayegi.
Okay.
That was where we had our first jam with Jal.
No way.
Yeah, it was over
Whose
here.
house is this?
Yeah,
Mahmood.
no, Heather and Umar, the guitarists, the one that I mentioned earlier, they lived in one of these lanes here.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so interestingly.
You guys all, kind of coincidentally live
Yeah,
together?
I was on a holiday in Islamabad. I had gone with some friends to my khala's farm, and on the way back, I got a call from Mahmood saying, "Yaar, base jani?" And I was like, "Sure." So I was like, "Jam kab?" He's like, "Aaj raat ko." So I got in, dropped my saman at the thing, and then just walked over to lane number 15 or whatever it is, and we jammed. The first time I met Atif was here.
Wow.
I remember we were parked probably right here, in fact. Where we negotiated my price.
Your contract?
For the there it is, lane 50. Negotiated my price for the show, which was 2,000 rupees, was what I was going to charge.
Oof, itne sare. What were you gonna do?
Yeah. And I said, yaar, 3 de de. He's like, yeah, I can't. I was like, chal, take it. It's not for the money.
So then you jammed here for the first time, and then
it was like a roller coaster. Like we did our first show, we jammed here. We did our first show in Alhambra Mall Road, and then uske like 2 weeks baad we did another show, and then a month later we did a show in Karachi, and then then following like 4 months later we did a show in Dubai, which is Atif's first international show.
And you were with them?
Yeah, Mahmood and I were. It was the same. But no, by this time we had brought in a drummer. There's this chap Mubin Shah. He's now in the States. He was Karachi based. He came in on drums, and Mahmood switched to guitar. So it was Mahmood on guitar, myself on bass, Mubin on drums, and Atif on vocals. And by this time Atif had picked up a guitar as well. This could all be wrong because this was 15, 16 years ago, so the dates are up and down. And we went to Dubai. It was great. I used to live in Dubai, so I hadn't been back in 13, 14 years, so it was a trip for me.
And was this your first commercial concert?
No,
like
our first,
in front of a big
commercial
audience?
concert was after my first jam, which was December 2003.
And how old were you?
I was 20.
And how nervous were you? First concert, man.
First concert, commercial. When you say commercial, in
front of
I charge money for it.
Yeah, and also ticketed.
But I played gigs
audience,
before. Like
yeah.
I played a gig at school. I had played, of course, at the Western and NCA. I had played a gig with Black Eye outside of school as well.
But
So,
it
wasn't with Black Eye, but it was with the same people in Black Eye.
what I mean is at school, it's your school's community, right?
Yes.
It's just so when I say commercial, I mean everybody plus gate crashers,
it
you know.
was- it
So
was-
wo
I mean,
wali feeling
I don't remember. I mean, I can say with a certain degree of surety that I was very nervous, but it wasn't a hampering sort of nervousness because I was comfortable being on stage because I had done that
Right.
a bunch of times before.
Right.
And the most recent time I'd done it was at the Western,
Yeah.
which was just a few months or maybe a month prior to my concert with Atif, with Jal. So I was extremely warmed up and I was extremely in practice and my brain was just thinking musically
Buzzing.
in those days. And we used to do a lot of covers actually. Atif ke do hi gaane the. It was this house, by the way, that we passed. This is where Atif wrote Mahive, like in front of me during these jams. Like that's where
I love Mahive. Just
Mahive was written
in front of you.
mere samne.
like in a matter of how many minutes?
Yeah,
Or
I think
sessions.
It was one jam. It was
What?
one jam. He had this idea and he started singing it, and somebody was playing the
Amazing.
guitar, and like.
Who are you people? Is
it was-
my question. Who
it was-
are you
It
people?
was interesting to witness. I'm getting a call.
Okay.
Hello. Mark Sam. ठीक ठाक जी, ठीक ठाक. कौन? क्या हाल है जी? ठीक ठाक. हाँ जी. समीर शामी. बस जी, ठीक ठाक. हुक्म करिए सर. बस सर काम चल रहा है. मैं म्यूजिक तो छोड़ दिया, मैं तो फिल्म मेकिंग में आ गया. अमेरिका मैं चेक करता हूँ, मेरे पास है, मैं भेजता हूँ. जरूर. ओके, थैंक यू. Interesting.
What's
Interesting
that?
that we're talking about the old
Past, yeah.
days of music concerts, and Idris, the sound engineer who used to do our sound
Oh my goodness.
in those days for a couple of concerts, just called me. What the hell?
Universe.
So, what was I saying? Sorry.
You were saying that he wrote Mahive in front of you.
So yeah, so he wrote Mahive here, and I remember like thinking, damn, wow. Flash forward to 10 years after that moment, and we play Mahive on every concert, and I still don't know what the words mean. Like, I used to sing backing vocals on Mahive, and
Why are you such a burger?
I don't know what Mahive means. What is Mahive?
Punjabi and Mahive.
What
Ve
does that
is
mean?
no Mahi is your lover, right? Mahi is
Ah,
Mahi.
okay.
And
So,
Ve is just by saying like Oe.
I used to tell Atif, I was like, man, I don't know what these words are. It's a beautiful song, but I don't know.
It's a it's a Punjabi thing. No, look. Oh Allah, hey, don't butcher it. But
Sorry,
you
yeah.
sang on the. अच्छा वो muffled सी sound होगी ना तो पता नहीं चलता होगा कि तुम क्या कह रहे हो. But anyway, I mean, अच्छा मैं nervousness कैसे पूछूं कि I would think that you're still a kid, man. 20 is nothing.
Yeah.
And how many? But like in terms of like how were you amazing? You think you were at an advanced level of playing the bass?
No.
तो उस सेंस में weren't you nervous कि भाई मुझे कितना आता था तुम्हें? यानी what you were beginner तो नहीं थे, but what at what level of?
I struggled with the songs. It was challenging, just the right amount for me. Had it been easy for me, I would have become complacent. So it was, and plus the songs that it was up to me what we played, right? Because there was no bass line for me to replicate.
Right.
In those first couple
So
of shows.
you were creating.
Yeah, so I was just
right.
playing the same scale as the rest of the band, and I had to figure that out. But later on, later in 2004, these guys went and recorded Atif's solo album Jalpari. So when that album was recorded, the Sameer Ahmed from Karachi, probably one of the best bass players in Pakistan. Certainly at that time he was in in my opinion, the best bassist that I'd ever seen in Pakistan or heard of in Pakistan. He played on the album. तो मेरी तो फट नहीं गई कि
Oh no, now I have to play like
क्या
him?
मतलब कि
I have to play this?
complicated ass
Oh my god.
bass lines जो है वो slap कर रहा है. What the hell? I don't know what slap was, you know, like
What
these
techniques and- oh, wow.
slap कर मेरी तो फट गई ना, right? And so they come back with this album. I didn't play on the album. They came back with this album. The album had Fawad Khan on drums, Mahmood on guitars, Sarmad on some of the guitars, and
Sounding so superior,
yeah.
and you had to.
Yeah, and Samir
had to
Ahmed on
match.
bass. And now suddenly I had to replicate these insane bass lines, and that's where I sort of really had to work at it. Because now it wasn't just me doing whatever I was doing. It was now the rest of the band had leveled up,
Yeah.
and I wasn't there for that leveling up. I was in college at some school field trip in Bahawalpur or something with NCA second year, and when I came back, I was given these songs to learn, and I'm just like, holy crap! Like this, I need to really work at this. So I sort of.
So when you say you were given songs, you're saying recordings of it, or are you saying any? Do they share the sheets with you or something?
There's no sheet music.
There's no.
It's. I mean, the songs. Most of the songs, scale-wise and chords-wise, remain the same. There were some changes. Like Lamhe was changed a little bit. Lamhe was changed. Dilhare was exactly the same when it came to chord structure. Adat was exactly the same when it came to chord structure.
So you had to figure out what was happening in the song as well.
It was different. I think the verses were different a little. So, no, I mean I was told because Mahmood knew the song, so he played on the album. So he told me the changes. But the bass lines, you know, like they were actual bass lines. What I was playing in concerts before weren't bass lines. They were just accompaniment. But now there was, because Samir Ahmed is a bass player and not a guitarist who's pretending to be. I now had to emulate his bass lines, and I think that's where I learned a lot about bass playing. Was bass was I learned that bass is actually a very important part of an ensemble, and that became clear to me when I was emulating when I was learning to replicate his bass lines. And I realized that when you don't play those bass lines in these songs, those songs don't work as well as they do with the bass. So similarly, if you remove the drums from Mahive, it becomes a lesser song. Or if you remove guitars or vocals from Mahive, it becomes a lesser song. And when I say Mahive, I'm speaking about the album version.
Right.
So similarly, if you remove that jiving, bopping bass line that Samir played on Mahive, it's not the same song. And for songs like Rango Mein, where they're slap bass driven, which is an extremely groovy kind of bass playing, they lose their punch.
So did you now have to learn new techniques, right? Because you didn't know them at all before.
I mean, I never thought I'd have to do it. But everyone loves to slap bass. All bassists love to slap bass. But it's because it's very cathartic. It's aggressive and it's cathartic and it's loud. You know, it's like a guitarist who wants to play distortion, right? Where the bassists have slap.
Right.
But it's difficult because it's different it's a different technique. It's a different style of playing. So you have to learn it.
So it's amazing to me that you basically kind of learn on the job.
Yes. Fake it till you make it.
Oh, you didn't fake it.
You
But
absolutely did. I faked
come
it. We all did, man.
Nahi yaar, that's not it. You're brave enough to try something, is what I think.
That's how you learn, yeah.
Right?
That's how you
Because
learn.
if you keep fearing कि I'm not good enough yet, अभी मुझे इतने level का आएगा ना when I go to Berkeley और फिर मैं ये करूँ और फिर मैं ये करूँ फिर मैं करूँगा, that will never happen. So he picked you up, like you guys all got together at whatever level you were playing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of grew together.
Serendipitous to a degree, though. Like it wasn't we were all sort of trusting each other.
Yeah, and growing together like any music band does, I think.
Yeah.
Any team, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, we were session musicians, all of us, but there was the band camaraderie was there for sure. Like we were a team. Atif and his brothers, the managers, they learned a lot from us, as we did from them. You know, and so it didn't certainly for Mahmood and me, it didn't feel like singer and hired session musicians. It felt like a band because off stage there was a lot of camaraderie and a lot of hanging out, and because we're traveling together,
You're like family.
we were hanging out together, we were
Day
discovering
night.
things together, we were
Experiencing new
yeah,
experiences together.
Exactly. It wasn't like
Wow.
especially in the early days, it wasn't like we'd land and just go to our rooms and not see each other till the sound check, you know.
Did that also happen eventually?
Yeah, it did eventually because
You were so in tune.
yeah.
You're like, okay, you knew the routine.
Yeah, also when you're on tour in the States and you're playing Friday night in LA and then Saturday night in New York and then Sunday night in Houston, there's a lot of flying and there's a lot of
Jet lag.
you're going on 2 hours. You're basically sleeping on flights. That's it. And you land. You go to the sound check. You go to the show. You got to put on a happy face because it's a new organizer, and you got to be professional. And, you know, it's very tiring. So you just want to be. You don't want to. You just want to go to your room and pass out.
Damn.
And you know, we didn't party on tour, and we didn't do any of that stuff.
Just because we're on tape?
No.
Or you actually guys didn't?
No, it's just that these. I mean,
It would affect your performance.
I mean, yeah, sure, it would. No, but I understand now though why a lot of musicians become drug addicts. A lot of successful musicians become drug addicts because it's a very difficult life. It's very strenuous, and I think because we come from an Islamic background, like Atif, he doesn't drink at all. He doesn't drink. I've never seen him drink, smoke, do drugs at all. And neither does anyone. Like Sarmad in the band, we didn't, because there wasn't that culture in the band. There was never really a desire for any of us to do these things. But people who come from a culture where drinking is okay and then drug use becomes okay, you tend to latch on to these things to make you feel better
And to cope.
with A, the loneliness of success, and B, the sort of the loneliness of being away from your friends and family, from things familiar. You know, home is home for a reason, and no matter how nice your 5-star, 7-star hotel resort suite is, it's not home.
Yeah.
And when you are on the road for so many days of the year, you become lonely, and you tend to want to feel better by doing drugs and drinking to excess. And that I can understand why a lot of famous musicians eventually lose their lives to drugs, because they can't cope. They become depressed. I've seen it. It's not just musicians, it's celebrities in general. I've seen it happen with actors. I've seen it happen. It's lonely at the top, as they say. I remember once we were in Amsterdam, and the promoter of our show, Amsterdam is a city in the Netherlands where
Azadi.
where prostitution is legal.
Yeah.
And so I remember the promoter, and so is marijuana, and alcohol, of course, is legal. I remember our promoter, a Desi guy, born and raised, running a business in Amsterdam, was like, "Yeah, what do you want? Do you want chaspini? Do you want a woman? Do you want?" And I just like, all of us were like, "No, thank you." Like, it was just the thought of it was very uncomfortable. And again, I'm not saying I'm bahut sharif hai. I mean, it was just like, interesting. We were there make music, to play music, to make money, and to see the sights. These are the things that interested me about being in the band. It was I get to travel with my friends, I get to go to new places, I get to meet interesting people, and I get to do it. I eat great food, and I get to all expenses paid.
Yeah.
And I get to do it while I'm doing the thing I want to do, which is play music.
Yeah.
So that's what was interesting to me. It wasn't that I get to go and womanize and drink and do drugs. That was never.
Pass out.
Yeah. So I think that's also a reason why the band lasted as long as it did. Excuse me, which was about 14 years.
And you left the band only.
I got bored, honestly. There was no upward mobility for me. My life had sort of become stagnant. I wanted to. I'm a visual artist. I studied art from an art school, and I'd been dabbling with video with you and Maram for many years in between.
When did we meet?
2009.
Really?
Yeah.
Like exactly 2009?
Yeah.
Wow.
2009 was Vaish's wedding. 2010 was Vaish's wedding. 2010 was Mikal Hassan's Chal Bulia, which is where we worked together.
No, Sameer.
Huh.
Earlier. Because
Or was it 2009? It was 2009.
नहीं ना 2009 में तो मेरी शादी थी.
G. You were married.
So
you were married.
चल बुलिया तो पहले होगा because I didn't fly back for it.
No, you didn't leave.
I was
2010 is when you left. Like you moved. No.
No, 2009 December में चली गई थी मैं.
Yeah, 2009 is when you left. Exactly. 2009 I was working in Creative Village as well.
Right.
I'd left the band for 3 months. I'd left the band because there was a lot of pressure from my parents to get a job. So Bilal Lashari and I, we started working for Creative Village in December of 2009.
Yeah.
And then by March 2010, when Atif was on tour in the States, I was like, "Bhai, main ja raha hu America. These guys are playing shows without me. Main ja raha hu." So I quit
remember
Creative
that.
Village
And
I came and met you. So you were in the States then. So we met in 2009. Chal Bulia was 2009.
यार मुझे लगता है थोड़ा सा पहले हो गया.
No, it was April 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was doing videos, and I was enjoying working visually again. So then Billy approached me about working with him on Maula Jatt in 2015, or was it 2014? 2015, early 2015. And so after a good long hard think, I was like, yeah.
It was 2014 to me.
No, it was 2015. I muddled over it in 2015, and 2015 December was my last show. So early 2014 he approached me, we started working together. I started helping him. He already had the script and all, but we started sort of going over the early drafts of the script, and I sort of informally started working alongside him. And then I gave notice to Atif 3 months prior to the end of 2015, and my last show with the band was New Year's Eve in the Maldives.
Oh my god.
On stage.
Oh my god.
Was my last show with Atif.
And you had given the notice prior to that show, right?
3 months. I was professional about it. I went over, I gave him notice. We had a very emotional, he was upset, I was upset. But it didn't feel like we were doing the wrong thing. It was just the end of that thing.
And when you were in your last concert in Maldives, did you feel like taking back your decision?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never regretted it.
But I know that. I know growth is something that, has its own set of, challenges and everything, and excitement. But, comfort हो जाता ना. So you're about to step into something new, but the high life of being part of
it's pretty from the outside. You see, when you're on the outside, I mean, you know me really well, and you're on the inside. But when you're on the outside, everything looks like, wow, they travel. He's been to like 50 countries, and he stays in 5-star hotels. And
तो वही ना Maldives में बैठा हुआ एक बंदा कह रहा नहीं अब मैंने नहीं ये करना.
Yeah, but the truth is, the grass is greener on the other side. Like on the inside, I'm taking 16-hour flights, landing, playing a gig, and taking another 16-hour flight.
Yeah.
I'm missing my friends' lives, my family's lives back home.
Yeah.
I was out of town when Mom's father died. I was out of town when your father. No, I was here for your father. I was out of town when Heather died. No, you were out of town.
No, Maram was out of town. You were also not there.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had to miss my grandmother's funeral because one of the reasons was because I was committed to play a show in Kenya. And
I know that. I'm just playing devil's advocate because when people listen and they should know the challenges of having everything yet feeling dissatisfied or not complete.
It is a tough life. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot that you give as well. And eventually, after 14 years, it's a long time to be in a band. And I'm playing with Atif Aslam. There's no up.
Yeah.
There's no way to go up from here.
Yeah.
There's no upward mobility left, right?
Yep.
So and I'm, at that time I'm 30. No, 33. I'm 33. So I need to go up more in life.
Yeah.
So I
and have more, cover more milestones.
Yeah, exactly. Achieve more. I need to achieve more.
And the trouble with that is that you're already doing something, like you said, you're working with the top billing artist of Pakistan. What do you do next? So obviously it can't be within the music industry, right? And since Shukar hai, you have the background for visual arts and everything, you could change.
Yeah, not a lot of people have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, I don't know, had Billy not offered me Maula Jatt, maybe I'd still be with Atif.
Because you saw that as a
really, really good option.
And also as a step, up as well.
Yeah.
From...
I mean, you see, it's a win-win for me. I get to work with one of my really close friends, who's a genius. And then I get to build, I work with him and build the team that is going to make this great movie.
What else can you ask for?
The reasons not to do it
there were none.
So few.
There were none.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we didn't know about COVID in 2015.
Yeah. But I swear, even if we knew, I mean, still the combination, the opportunity, you could not refuse it.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question.
Which is your last question because I have to pee. And we're approaching 2 hours.
Like, you're working with the most in-demand, popular, and creative geniuses of Pakistan. Right? Atif Aslam. Start of your career is with Atif Aslam. I mean, wow.
Well, I mean, they've seen, I would say it was the start, but
your first, my
first break.
Yeah. And then you switched to making a movie.
Yeah.
And with Bilal Lashari.
Yeah.
Who is extremely well known for his creative genius.
Yeah.
And now you've switched to, switched the name, but now you're working with Fawad Khan.
Yeah, I'm working with Fawad and Hassan in their new company called Ultra Item. It's a production company. And I work with, there's the two of them, and then there's Yusuf Sharik, who funnily enough was with me in Lakas many moons ago. So yeah, it's a different side of things. So I was in film but I was in the director's team with Billy. I was the assistant director on Maula Jatt.
Yeah.
So, and you were makeup, special effects, hair and makeup, you and Maram. And so we're creative side,
Right.
right? So we were always the ones battling with the production side of the film, going, yeah, nee, we need more money, we need more time. And the production team would be like, no, you don't have, there's no money to give you, and we don't have time. You have to do everything in kam paisa. So we were on the creative team, team creative. But now with Ultra Item, I'm a producer. I'm on the production team. So I'm looking forward to, working on our next film as a producer.
Oh my God.
I'm looking forward to learning the ropes for that side of thing. Now Hassan and Fawad have already produced one film with Ultra Item, there which is Nilofer, so and Yusuf. So they've already done the production for one. So I'm looking forward to working as a producer or in the production team on a film, so that I can learn that side of things as well. Because I don't know, I know. All I know about production is from the creative team's point of view. So now that I have to wear
well, now you know the pain.
the devil's hat.
But you would be, see, when you're gonna learn, you're also gonna be sensitive to what the creative side needs.
Yeah. So I realize that now that Ali Murtaza is not a bad guy. Who, by the way, is one of the producers for Maula Jatt. He's like, I understand what Ali goes through on set, and Ali was very involved creatively as well. Like he was, he certainly very much certainly had a say in creative decisions, and he gave his input, and Billy listened to him as well. His opinion was valued creatively, but I understand the pains as a producer. I really get it now. And I remember this quote from this film, Wag the Dog. Dustin Hoffman plays a producer. And he says that there's no Academy Award for Best Producer.
Oh.
And I was like, that's true. My counter to that is, if you get the Best Picture Award, doesn't go to the director, it goes to the producer. But it's not for being the best producer, it's for having the best picture. So yeah, it's interesting.
But you're lucky, man. You're, in fact, I'd say, to have that.
My
these
wife keeps reminding me that, you're lucky, you're talented. If I'm having a bad day, she reminds me that,
It is so true. And look at who, usually masla ye hota hai ki people with regular jobs. If you had a regular, if you had a corporate sort of career, then you would be aspiring to work with the top brands, top multinational company, top bank, and here you are as a creative who's worked with Atif Aslam, Bilal Lashari, and now Fawad Khan, and his production company. So, shabash, cheete. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. Let's
my brother.
Let your brother pass. See how he stared me now?
Yeah.
He's like,
He looks tired. I don't know where he's coming from.
But it's amazing. You've had, and you are on an amazing journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got married this year. That's my new adventure. So, फिलहाल तो that's.
Which is a roller coaster adventure, because it'll keep you on your toes for the rest of your life.
Huh? I mean, you say that? You've been married, what, 10 years now?
11.
11 years?
Yeah.
So, फिलहाल तो मुझे बहुत मजा आ रहा है. I'm very happy. I rush home every day from work.
Hey.
So that's what I'm focusing on these days. Ultra Item and Shadi Item.
You're good. You're in a good place. I don't know. So do I.
Chalo. And cut.